I got something pretty neat in the mail. So I did that video on classic CB radios, and I got an interesting email. It needs bourbon. Haha! I still got some. I'd say I'm going to put a little splash in this, but apparently it's going to be more like a wave. Too much? Perfect. Alright, so I get this email from a guy I met, actually, believe it or not, met on the road in Albert Lea, Minnesota. The guy that runs Trucking Resources. You got to clean a little up. That's how you get ants. If you get the joke, you're a legend. Anyhow, Rob from Trucking Resources, I met him in Albert Lea, Minnesota. At the TA there. Well, we get to talking and exchange emails, phone numbers, whatnot. Well, he sees my video on Antique CBs and he said, sends me a message, called him up and he says, I got this radio that was in a bunch of stuff that I got from an auction. Do you want it? I said, what do you want for it? He says, I'll mail it to you. Are you sure? He goes, yeah. So let me show you what he sent me. It's pretty cool. So I've already opened it, of course. I put it back in the box to store it, but he sent me an antique 23 channel Pace. That is really cool. So I thought it would be really cool to, I don't know if you'd call it restore it, but refurbish it. We're going to clean it up. We're going to clean out the insides. We're going to just get all the dirt and gunk off it and see if we can't get this thing fired up. So going over this radio, it's a 23 channel Pace 2300. It's got a mic, which I'm grateful for. You got your positive and your negative here. It's got an accessory plug. I'm not sure what that's for, but I'll find out. Antenna, of course. External speaker, PA like normal. Made in Harbor City, California, which I believe is over there by Long Beach, but I'd have to look. So as far as I could find, this radio was manufactured in the early to mid-70s. Let's get this thing hooked up. We'll see if we can get power to it first. And if it fires up, we will clean it up. In fact, we're going to clean it up anyways, but it's a lot funner when they work. So let's get this thing hooked up to the power supply and see what happens. So we got it all hooked up. Let's turn the power on here. All right. And let's see what happens. Got no power, so this isn't lighting up. So let me see what happens here. Well, that's working. I hooked it up to that radio there, and that one fired up. This one is not wanting to turn on, wanting to key up. See if there's a fuse inside. I'm going to take it apart, clean out the insides, check all the connections, see if there's a fuse in there, and we'll see if we can't get this thing fired up. Well, a minute later, mystery solved. I went and saw this was over on PA, and that fired up. That's not working, and the lights aren't coming on, but we'll get that fixed. A lot of times when the lights don't come on, it's because they're just corroded, all you got to do is clean the connections, and a lot of times they'll come right back on. So let me see what I can do here. We'll get this thing pulled apart, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to pop these, in fact, these are pretty loose here. So pull these off here, and we'll take the top cover off first before we hit the bottom cover. So basically just these 4 screws, and there doesn't appear to be any back here, so it's amazing. These are just finger tight, so I can just actually pull them off with the number 1 reading prints here, and just come right out. So all right, so the top's ready to come off, and let's see what it looks like on the inside. Now that's old school right there. Now, years ago, when they got away from tubes and started using transistors, the radios, of course, this is a complete analog radio. And this is, if you knew what you were doing, you could really hot rod one of these up. I'll show you. These little things in here is where power, you could turn them up with, you know, if you knew what you were doing through here, and these were like for frequencies and whatnot, and you could really turn them up. We got some of this computer cleaner here. I thought I heard a cat, which would be odd because I don't have a cat. But anyhow, we're looking at this little jumble here, and I'm going to go ahead and take the bottom cover off. Let me get this off, and I'll get back with you. So we got it all taken apart. Let me show you. All this dirt here fell out. Not a whole lot. So that's good. Had this little plate right here. This piece of paper stuck to the bottom plate. And this is the bottom side of the circuit board. You got to be careful here. This stuff will crack pretty easily. It's robust to a point, but you got little things like this little resistor here and whatnot. So I had to get it around the, there's the control tag. I had to get it around that, but so let's clean out the inside here. Let's turn this way, and we'll clean out the inside. So I got this compressed air here. This is for cleaning computer equipment. I figured this would probably be the best thing for it right now. So let me turn the camera around, and I got it on the tripod so I don't, well, I don't screw anything up, really. So we're gonna, I don't know. Oh, I can't get it to work. I guess I'll have to read the directions. Oops. Alright. Now we're gonna got the inside pretty much blown out. I'm not gonna go too crazy on the inside because it is electronics, and I am a clod who's been drinking bourbon. But anybody who knows me knows that I am not a precision kind of guy. I'm more of a, basically a bull in a china shop. I don't possess the dexterity for fine-tuning things. But cleaning it out is something, you know, that's good. So I'm going to blow the front off here. And then I'm going to get some alcohol, some Q-tips. And we'll probably clean the outside cases in soapy water, make sure they're completely dry. But we're not going to put any soap or water, anything but alcohol on the inside. But we still got to be careful with that. Well, that didn't work. Well, I was hoping to be able to blow some of this dirt and dust off the front. I don't know what the deal with this is. Maybe I should have gone to Walmart to get something quality. But let's go get some Q-tips, and I got some ethyl alcohol here, and we'll get to cleaning. So let's get this to the sink, and we'll clean it up. But the one thing that bothers me is not this piece here, the bottom. It's the top. This is a wood veneer, which was real popular back in the 70s, so I'm going to have to be very careful that I don't peel that up. So I'm going to use the kitchen sink here. I was busy baking, so I'm not going to show you the mess. I got this recipe offline about no yeast rolls. Anyhow, just do this, a really light rubbing with some very mild detergent. I use a little Dawn. Don't have to kill it. Just give it a light rubbing here, and just rinse it off and just let it sit. You dry it off too. Like I said, you don't have to kill it. Just give it just a mild scrubbing, just enough to get the dirt off. The dirt isn't really packed on here. It's just one of those deals that, you know, things just settle over time. So let's get these dried off and get back to the other part of the radio. Now I've got a bunch of cotton balls here, some isopropyl alcohol, and a bunch of Q-tips. We're going to use the Q-tips in the little crevices and stuff. Oops. And the isopropyl, of course, as a cleaner. Now, what you want to do is put a little bit on the corner here and get it in a nondescript area to try to clean it up, to make sure that you're not screwing anything up. You're not rubbing any ink or anything off. Like make sure, you know, like you're not taking the volume knob off. So put it right here on the corner here. Give it a little scrub. It seems like it's cleaning, but so yeah, let me show you. So sorry about the light, but we got a little bit of alcohol here, and we're just cleaning it up. There's not a whole lot I can do for the pitting, but you know, I sit there and, you know, try to do a little bit of polishing here. Like where this, see where the paint is, where it says PA and CB and stuff like that. You gotta be real careful about that. Let's see if these knobs come off. Oh, that's good. So we can clean the knobs separately, but we can also clean out under the knobs and get that. So I'm going to clean up a little bit here and clean up on some of these knobs. Just basically a little isopropyl cotton ball. Give it a twist. If you got to get in those little corners, take one of these with a little bit of isopropyl on it. And just basically run it around the edges here. And that knob come out looking brand new. And if you really want to get crazy, you can just go all around the edges in these little cracks and clean up all the dirt, which I think I'm going to do because this is really dirty. But use a cotton ball because you can get a wider swath if you just press the cotton ball into these little grooves. Takes you just a minute, and oh yeah, It's already pretty filthy. So let me get to this, and we'll see what happens. So let me show you where we're at and kind of one of the things we're dealing with right now. So I got these two knobs off. This ring of grit right here is tough. And kind of dealing with residue and whatnot. This is where the light bulb is. This is cleaned up really well. I'm going to let this dry off. There's a bit of isopropyl on here. I got to re-clean this. You can see the dirt kind of came back out. So I didn't get it as clean as I thought I should have. But I'll re-clean that. And pop this off. Like I said, I've gotten in here. But I need to give this another scrubbing. There's just a lot of deep-seated grime and dirt. So the inside, like I said, the inside looked really good. I couldn't get the light working, but since none of the lights came on, I'm guessing it's probably just a ground or something. And truthfully, play with it a little while longer, it'll probably all start working. The only bad thing is this mic has such a weird plug here. It's a 4-pin, but it's like no other 4-pin. So I'm gonna just finish cleaning this up. We're gonna get the covers back, well, at least the bottom cover back on, and then we'll start playing with it some more from there. Okay, so I've got the bottom cover on, and I'll show you where we're at. We've got it. I've tried cleaning this. I may have to just get back into these with a little scraper, but I'm not worried about that. I've got the fronts cleaned off. Got this cleaned off. That started coming off, so I stopped there. I didn't really hit this down here because I didn't want this paint to come off either. Got the dial cleaned up. I'm going to give it a final buffing, you know, with one of these, just get the haze off it, but see if we can't get that working. But I'm leaving the top off, so when I put power to it, because what I want to do is to see if I can't get the light to work first. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but we'll see if we can't get the light and maybe the gauge to work, the meter. I'm not got a whole lot of confidence with this mic, but I'll give it a quick clean and see what happens. I'll tell you right now, I can't get another one. I know that, so hopefully it works. But either way, it's coming along pretty nice, and we'll hook it up and see if we can't get it to go. I was cleaning the mic and I discovered something really cool. This mic was made by a static. So I don't know if it's just the mic or was it the whole radio, because this is you can see the Pace logo here. It's an Astatic mic, but I don't know if Astatic actually owned Pace at one time or they just contracted for the mics, but there's a little bit of history for you. They've come a long ways. This is a brand new Astatic mic. But unfortunately, this is also a 4-pin, but they are completely different. So, yeah. So with that, let me get this thing plugged in. We'll get it turned on. I'll get the alcohol cleaned up around here. That way I don't start a fire, because fires are bad. And we'll get this thing going. So I've got this plugged in. I've got the power hooked up. Don't have it turned on yet. What I find cool is the speaker's on the side, so that's kind of neat. I have the antenna hooked up. I suppose I probably better put the cap on the alcohol. That would be helpful. And finish up this alcohol. That was helpful. So let's turn the power on here. And got the volume on. Let's turn this on here. Oh, I suppose I have to plug it in. Okay, let's try this again. Ah, volume's on. But we're getting a little something. Let me, Sometimes if you hold the needle down and you flick just give the case a little flick, sometimes it'll loosen it up. It's not loosening it up. I could have taken the faceplate off, but I felt like I might break something, so I didn't go that far. But apparently it's keying up. I just don't have anything right now, so let's see if we can get the light working. So I'm going to sit here and just trace this wire here. Apparently it's running in parallel to the on and off. Now the problem I had with this, see that? That's probably part of the problem with the light. That right there will cause a lot of problems. So. And I noticed that the light is hooked up to the on and off switch here. So chances are if we have a problem with the light, it's in there. I need to get a better pointy thing. Well, so this is a light here for this. And this is the light for the dial here. So we got this yellow wire that goes all the way over to here. Hooks up with a volume for some reason. But the other half hooks down into this right here. You follow this, it goes all the way down to right there. You can't see it. Now, like I said, this is loose. So chances are it might start working if I was to hook the radio up. A lot of times you can hook these radios up and they won't work, and then just as they start bouncing around in the car or truck, things loosen up and the electrical starts getting warm and things will start working. Or they'll catch fire and burn the thing down. You can go either way on that. But let's put the top cover on this and get it all, do a final clean. We'll show you what we got. So I discovered something interesting that I didn't notice till I got it put together. There's literally no way to mount this. No mounting hardware, no nothing. I don't know how it sits. It just is. Maybe it's supposed to be strapped in or something. I don't know. But like these Cobras and Galaxies that have mounting holes and whatnot, this just doesn't have anything. So I find that interesting. But we got it all put together. Got the cover all cleaned up. Got it nice. I wish we could have got the lights working, but when you comes to some of these old radios, you kind of take your life into your own hands, and I really don't have the proper hardware to be really tearing into these. But let me show you. So cleaned it up, and I probably ought to hit this again on the side, but The bottom came out, well, that's from rubbing on the table. But it actually came out really nice. It's clean. The speaker works. The back cleaned up. The mic cleaned up. So, yeah, I mean, I discovered when I cleaned it up, it has a serial number, and everything is good. So yeah, I'm really pleased so far. It came out a lot better than I thought it would, and it works. Now I know that it doesn't light up or anything like that, but it's static. It keys up and all that. And if I had the right, if I had the right gauges, I could actually really fine tune it in. But finding parts for this radio is just the next thing to impossible. Well, it's not. I would have to buy another Pace radio that actually works and salvage the parts for that to fix this, when in reality, this is probably the radio that would need to be salvaged. I'm not going to take a part out of a working radio to fix a non-working radio because I have literally accomplished nothing. So, but is this radio worth anything? Not really. I found them online. The highest I found them was about $60. Shipped. Not bad. Now, if it was a 166, like in Smokey and the Bandit, it would be worth a lot of money. It is not. And truthfully, if it was a 166, Rob would have been, hey, check out this antique radio I got. Not, you want this antique radio. And that would have been fully understandable. The 166 is pretty cool. But that being said, it's still a cool radio. And the neat thing is, even though it's a 23 channel, it's still viable. So I could still put this in a vehicle and run it. And that is cool. So, yeah, I mean, when you get some of these old radio guys, have fun with them. That's why we got them. Not a lot of guys use them on the road anymore. And they're not as serious as these radios here. You know, these radios here, yeah. But historically speaking, these are valuable. And truthfully, if some guy's going to be restoring an old semi-truck and he wants something period correct to put in it, he's going to be looking for stuff like this. There's a market for these things. They may not bring a whole lot of money, but they do bring a lot of satisfaction to guys who love classic radios like I do. I mean, got a whole shelf full of them. And that's not even all of them. So, with that being said, guys, you're going to go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. And when you get a chance to restore a piece of history like this, even if it's really not worth that much, go ahead and do it. Put your hands on it. Learn how it works. Because I'll tell you what, you know, for you guys that want hot rod radios and stuff like that, these are the radios that paved the way. You know, these old 3 to 5 watt 23 channel radios. And truthfully, if you can figure out how these radios work and learn how to properly tune one of these, not all this hack job that's going on now, you will walk and talk and rule the truck stop with one of these old boogers. Even some of these old 29s I got are like this. Not that anybody's really walking and talking and ruling a truck stop anymore. But at the same time, just having a skill and knowing how to do it is actually worth that. So have fun, guys. Enjoy things like this. And don't be afraid to play with them. Radio really cleaned up well. And I really wanted to scrub it out a little more. But I didn't want to remove any of the paint or any of the markings like that. So I got as much of dirt off as I could. And I'll check out some more methods. And maybe I'll get back to clean it a little more. So, hey guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there. And don't forget to have fun. We'll see you next video.